So guys, welcome back to another video. This is another baseball reaction, and this video has been suggested a lot. I don't know if this is the specific video reaction you guys wanted, but you wanted a video. Oh, the suggestions were along the lines of a Jomboy reaction to do with the Astros cheating scandal, and the title is the Houston Astros cheating scandal explained. Feat Jomboy baseball bits. This is a channel that I've also reacted to like a few times. He's got a very good channel, but Jomboy, people are telling me that he exposed the Astros. I think he used a video. I'm not 100% up to scratch with it, but the fact that he exposed like a franchise, a team, with like just the use of the internet is absolutely insane. But it goes to show the power of the internet and the power of this guy, because again, his videos are very good, and I like how he just sort of styles his videos out. But the fact that he exposed a team, that's from what I've heard. I guess it was a mixture of things, but people are saying strongly that this guy's most known for now, like exposing them, which is absolutely insane. But I mean, props to him, man. I mean, I'm interested to see what this video is about. But yo, let's get into this, man. It's another baseball reaction, and I'm just interested in seeing what could be in this. I think it was to do with like it says sign stealing. I'm not too 100% sure what sign stealing means. Is it like, I guess we'll see in the video, but wait, let's actually read the description. It's the biggest story of the 2019 MLB season, probably ceiling high in history. I'm interested to see what this video is going to have for us, because I hope he explains it properly for me. But yeah, let's get into this and see what this is about. Quick shout out to my Twitch. I know I keep doing this, I'm sorry. We're so close to 1,000 followers. We might be at 1,000 followers at this point. It's going insane, man. I thank you guys so much for everything on the Twitch and on the YouTube. This is insane. But let's get into this and see what this 22-minute video has to offer. Let's turn it up a bit.
On November 12th, 2019, Ken Rosenthal and Evan Drellick of The Athletic dropped a bomb. Excuse me. Can you knock it off? The Athletic dropped a bombshell that would shape the narrative of the entire Major League Baseball offseason. In their home games, the 2017 World Series champion Houston Astros had used an electronic system to steal signs from opposing catchers and communicate them to their hitters in real time. Speaking of The Athletic, here's something convenient. We're actually partnered up for this episode of Baseball.
I'll skip this, but shout out again this one.
Any rules, there's a reason teams use a complicated sign system to begin with. If your signs can be figured out without electronic assistance, you're at a huge disadvantage. But using technology is against the rules.
Okay.
It is detailed in the Rosenthal.
By signs, is it like people using like sign language to sort of signal a player to do certain things? And I assume that's what he's saying, or like to do certain tactics. They'll hold something up, or they'll just do a random thing that only the team know that it is. I assume that's the case of it. And if someone's using technology to sort of like link up what little thing that they're doing to, so the player can see. I think I'm gathering what this means, what he means by this.
A feed from a camera in center field, fixed on the opposing catcher's signs, was hooked up to a television monitor that was placed on a wall steps from the team's home dugout at Minute Maid Park.
Oh, mad.
There, Astros players and employees would decode the catcher's signs. Once they cracked the code, they used something a bit more primitive than a real-time video feed to signal the upcoming pitch to their hitters. They banged on a trash can to signal off-speed or breaking pitches. Here's an example. August 2nd,
Wait, what?
Steve Cishek pitching to Jake Marisnik. First pitch,
Wait,
no bang, fastball. Second pitch, bang, slider. Third pitch, no bang, fastball. Fourth pitch,
Astros had lefty off.
bang, slider.
Wait, can you see? Is it like?
Fifth pitch, no bang, fastball.
Is it the catcher who's banging? Wait.
Third pitch, no bang, fastball. Fourth pitch,
Astros had lefty off.
bang, slider. Fifth pitch, no bang, fastball.
Okay.
Sixth pitch,
So they've read it well.
bang, slider. Seventh pitch, bang, slider. Marisnik finally pops out.
Is that sound the banging on
This isn't
the
first
the
instance
bin?
of technology-based sign stealing. In 1876,
Because if that's the case, that's
Dark
insane.
Blues perched a man on a telegraph
That's
pole to alert
insane.
hitters of the newly invented curveball. The 1951 Giants, managed by spymaster Leo DeRocher, used a telescope and buzzer to steal signals, and the 2017 Red Sox were fined for using smartwatches in a 3-game series against the Yankees. But the Astros system was different, because it was now
Banging the
plainly available for everyone to
dustbin.
see. Or maybe I should say, available for everyone to hear.
So that sound is literally that's insane.
Audible on broadcasts that are available on this very website. In the months since the story broke, internet detectives, regular baseball fans like you and I, have been documenting every shred of evidence possible to sink the now despised Houston Astros. And with that, This story, published by two great baseball writers for The Athletic, suddenly became a huge group project for everyone in the baseball community. Here's everything we have learned so far.
Okay, let's get into this, man.
Here's the timeline. Early in the 2017 season, at least two uniformed Astros got together to start the process. One was a hitter who was struggling at the plate and had benefited from sign stealing with the previous team, according to club sources. Another was a coach who wanted to help. When the banging started isn't 100% clear. I watched the footage from opening day against the Mariners and heard some suspicious thuds. I wasn't alone in this, yet nothing conclusive. In an article we'll talk about a little bit later, Rob Arthur of Baseball Prospectus pinpointed well-defined signals starting on May 19th against the Indians. Perhaps the system took some calibrating to get just right. As far as the setup goes, we know there was a camera installed in center field that could pick up the opposing catcher's hand signals. You feed that video to a tunnel.
Was the camera spotted, or is that just like what they found out? Because I'm intrigued to see if the camera is in view.
System going. So, from May 19th onward, there's consistent banging going on.
Wait, so it wasn't just one game. Oh look how bait that is. Look at him looking back. That is so bait.
In my experiences, having watched the tape, it was more noticeable later in the season, particularly in games played in August and September.
Okay, this is wild.
The story doesn't just end at the conclusion of the 2017 regular season. Obviously, a lot of attention has been turned to the 2017 playoffs, where the Astros won their franchise's first ever World Series. Could you imagine if there were audible trash can banging on that stage?
Wow.
There isn't.
Okay.
If the Astros believed the system was
If there
worthwhile,
was, man.
they could have gone for alternatives. After all, a trash can banging might not cut it in a loud playoff atmosphere.
Trash can, man.
Some have theorized that whistling patterns in the crowd may play a role. Once again, we'll talk about it later. The following season, Jeff Passan, then reporting for Yahoo, wrote that the Indians, who fell victim to the Astros in the 2017 ALDS, had warned the Red Sox that Houston might try to steal signs from them in the upcoming American League Championship.
This is blowing me away. I thought this was going to be for one game. Like a few games. This went on for ages.
How did they suspect this? They had a photograph of a man named Kyle McLaughlin aiming a cell phone into Cleveland's dugout during the loss that ended their season. And although McLaughlin has never been listed as an Astros employee, he does have ties to the club, as he can be seen here posing with Astros owner Jim Crane. This was the first inkling that something was fishy with the 2017 Astros, and the last paragraph of that article featured this interesting sentence. Two Major League players said they have witnessed the Astros hitting a trash can in the dugout.
Okay, so this is the start of them finding something, yeah.
Signals to hitters. Talk about burying the lead. Fast forward to exactly 1 year later, and Andy Martino of SNY reported that the Yankees noticed a whistling sound from the Astros dugout during Game 1 of the 2019 ALCS. They believe this whistling was part of a sign-stealing system. On November 12th, a couple weeks after the Astros were defeated by the Nationals in Game 7 of the World Series, Ken Rosenthal and Evan Drellick published their landmark article, which confirmed the previously held suspicions about the Astros and sign-stealing, at least in the 2017 regular.
Oh, what's happened here? What's happened here then? Oh, my Wi-Fi just went out, so it paused here. I think this is the exact point. It was around this time anyway. I went back a little bit just to make sure. But yeah, let's get back into this. Again, I'm sorry for that bit. It just happened out of nowhere, but let's get back into this and see.
In the 2017 regular season, that is, there were a couple key figures who came forward with their experiences. The first was current A's pitcher Mike Fiers. Yeah, that's real facial hair. That's the face of the man who may have sunk the Astros.
What the hell is that?
Fiers was an Astro in 2017, and he confirmed that Houston stole signs during home games in real time with the aid of a camera positioned in the outfield. The other key party in this article is...
Yeah, that's true actually. Why would they think this would have worked when players would have eventually left them and just obviously exposed them? Why would they think this is even this would have even worked out?
Conan, former MLB
It's kind of
pitcher
wild.
Danny Farquhar, who was pitching in relief for the White Sox at the time. There was a banging in the dugout, almost like a bat hitting the bat rack every time a changeup signal got put down, he said. After the third one, I stepped off. I was throwing some really good changeups and they were getting fouled off. After the third bang, I stepped off. 4 days later, after publishing their article, Rosenthal and Drellick followed up by sharing an August 2017 email from an Astros front office executive. In the email, the unnamed executive writes, "One thing in specific we are looking for is picking up signs coming out of the dugout. What we are looking for is how much we can see, how we would log things, if we need cameras / binoculars, etc. So go to a game, see what you can or can't do, and report back your findings." But I'd like to get back to Farquhar, because his first-hand account of the trash can banging is what caused members of the baseball community to spring into action and document the sign-stealing system with the help of MLB's broadcast footage.
Okay.
The Athletics certainly did some heavy lifting, but the story was in the hands of the public now, and what happened next is fascinating.
Level 2, the sleuths.
The Athletic presented the Farquhar incident through the written word. There was time for video to tell the story. Enter Jomboy Media.
John,
What was the first thing you did
come on.
after you read the article from the Athletic?
Kind of chuckled because the rumors had been going on for so long that someone actually officially said it, especially someone as official as Ken Rosenthal, and then took to the internet to see what people were saying, and then figured we could easily find what Farquhar was talking about. Found the footage from that specific game that he had mentioned in the article.
Wow.
I found the footage. Let's watch it. Here we go.
Man,
But he takes
the
chances.
internet is so
Now, Farquhar
powerful.
looking good. Let's see. Fastball, no bang at all. Takes it. Call for the changeup. Bang, bang.
Oh.
Farquhar steps off and says, "Can you hear it?" Hey, they got the f***ing signs. We got to change this.
Wow.
This is super upsetting.
Shortly after the news broke, Jomboy scrambled to create this video in less than 30 minutes. He titled it, "Astros Using Cameras to Steal Signs, a Breakdown." It currently has 2.2 million hits on
Jesus.
YouTube and 4.1 million on
I might just watch this video after
There
it just
it
to,
was, the cheating system
on my own
on full
time.
display.
because that's
Major League
intriguing as
Baseball
hell.
does a weird thing on YouTube, and that weird thing was unknown to many until this story broke. Since 2009, every single MLB.TV game can be found on YouTube.
Okay.
That, of course, includes every
Includes these
Astros
ones.
home game in its entirety. It's all out there. When you uploaded this breakdown in particular, did you know you had like another big viral video, or is it kind of harder to predict what's going to pop off and what won't?
I knew it would be interesting. I didn't know it was going to be as big as it was. Now that I look back at it, I'm like, of course it was. But I thought it was going to be similar to the Glass Now one that I had posted about him tipping pitches in the playoffs, where it was super interesting and detailed. So like I didn't realize it was going to have more legs than maybe the article itself did, because I was just supporting the article.
The Athletic toppled the first domino, Jomboy the second, and the race to find other instances of trash can banging was on.
Okay.
Suddenly, 2017 Astros home games began appearing in everyone's YouTube recommended videos. You can click on any random game and see dozens and dozens of comments with timestamps for every thud.
Jesus.
The day after the story broke, a giant mega post on the baseball subreddit cropped up, making note of suspicious activity throughout both
That's
the 2017
insane.
regular season and playoffs. Other YouTubers got in on the action as well, with a couple long compilations of the sign stealing garnering around 1 million combined views. It was as if
Jesus.
the internet was conducting its own
People are
investigation
obsessed with this then,
alongside
yeah?
Major League Baseball. Jomboy also returned to Twitter to post a clip from a 2017 Astros documentary showing the alleged setup near the dugout. At
Oh,
this point,
mad!
parts of the trash can banging had been documented, but I couldn't help but wonder if I too could play the role of internet.
The bit or the trash
I
can there.
hopped into Baseball Savant and looked for Astros home runs in home games late in the season. One of the results was a curveball hit by George Springer off Chris Flexen of the Mets. I found the game in question, skipped ahead to the pitch in question, and saw this.
Jesus, bro, no, the internet is absolute. Nah. This is nuts. This is one of the craziest like stories I've ever seen. One of the craziest scandals. This is insane. How the internet sort of puzzled this all together, man. Oh my days.
Wow. That's really bad. That's hard to watch. After the trash can system had been confirmed, plenty of attention
You
was
are-
turned to the 2017 playoffs. So let's talk about some things that we don't know. We don't have complete evidence of alternative systems used by the Astros to relay signs to their hitters, particularly in the 2017 playoffs. Jomboy shared some work done by someone named Rafael Garcia, who isolated higher frequencies in audio from the 2017 World Series. Higher frequencies like someone whistling in the crowd.
Oh, Jesus.
The video suggested that different types of whistles from the crowd corresponded with different pitch types from the Dodgers. Yet, in the interest of fairness, this whistling analysis remains just a theory. In fact, a YouTuber named Tony Adams, who does admit to being an Astros fan, ran his own analysis of the charge whistle in Game 5 and found basically zero correlation between the whistle and the action on the field. By the way, you can find links to everyone's work in the video's description. Meanwhile, MLB infielder Trevor Plouffe hopped on Twitter to tell the world that the Astros relayed pitch calls to a bullpen catcher who did hand signs to communicate to whoever was standing in the batter's box. You had a chance to talk with Trevor Plouffe on your podcast, Talkin' Baseball. Will you, right now, vouch for Trevor Plouffe's character? Can we as a nation trust Trevor Plouffe?
Trevor Plouffe for president.
Okay.
Plouffe's a great guy. He's actually joined the Jomboy.
I love Jomboy videos so much.
Doing a lot of things with him in the future, and he was a joy and a blast to chop it up with.
On top of all this, Joel Sherman of the New York Post reported that some MLB scouts and executives believed the Astros communicated signs via a realistic-looking electronic bandage that buzzed to indicate pitch types.
Wow.
Buzzing bandages! Another thing we're not sure about, whether this cheating system continued into 2018 or 2019, or whether it was deployed at any time before 2017. We also
this
don't
is
know if there was a sign
mental.
stealing system used in road games. And finally, the last thing we don't know is probably the most important. We don't know the identities of the uniformed Astros that devised the system. We don't know if every player was involved, and we don't know which coaches, front office executives, or even owners knew of these activities. So, as of right now, we know a lot, but there's still plenty to be uncovered. There's another important question, one that can be answered with some good old-fashioned baseball analysis, and the results are pretty shocking. If the Astros hitters knew the type of pitch that was coming in home games, how much did that information actually help them?
True, actually, it could have, like, in certain scenarios, it may have not even helped, but still, it's just sort of like it's the sort of the thought of just them breaking the rules to try and win or try and gain an advantage. Whether it actually helped in certain situations, it will have helped in certain other situations. So, I mean, there's sort of like two sides to it, but still, this is a wild story, man. This is insane.
So, it's simple. We just compare the strikeout rate of the 2016 Astros to the
I guess you could
2017
do that, yeah.
Astros in Minute Maid Park, right? In 2017, they were the team that struck out the least at home. The previous season, they struck out the third most among all home
Wow.
teams in baseball. A huge reversal. That has to be it, right? Knowing the pitch that's coming leads to way fewer strikeouts.
That's quite a good point, but that's still not 100% legitimate. But I get, it does sort of show the signs of what the scandal is really about, really, doesn't it?
A huge advantage. I personally really disagree with this type of
Okay,
analysis.
I see.
For one, the 2016 Astros were just different. Alex Bregman and Yuli Gurriel only played in the majors for a small portion of 2016, but were huge contributors the following season. 2016 Colby Rasmus was also upgraded to 2017 Josh Reddick, and Marwin Gonzalez, who had been a meh hitter up to that point, went absolutely ballistic that season. The Astros were a far more potent offense in 2017, that's for certain, but that doesn't prove that sign stealing was the only reason why they succeeded. The logical thing would be to compare the 2017 Astros home games to road games. After all, we're certain that this system was in work at home, but haven't really come across definitive proof of cheating
Oh,
in
man.
games. Here's the 2017 Astros at home again. Those numbers are fantastic. Surely they weren't that good on the road. And yet, they actually were. In fact, they
Fair.
scored more runs on the road than they did at home that season.
Okay.
A huge narrative of their 2017 season was just how good they were away from Minute Maid Park. These aren't the
Wow.
results one would expect from a team that allegedly knew what pitches were coming in home games. There has to be something.
That's
here.
interesting.
I asked myself what situations would be most beneficial for Astros hitters to know the upcoming pitch, and landed on curveballs, changeups, and sliders below the zone with 2 strikes. I did find a difference in swing and miss rate, but not a huge one. Rob Arthur of Baseball Prospectus did some really important research on the 2017 Astros. By analyzing audio signatures from the broadcast, he determined that the system was fully deployed somewhere around May 19th, and observed a lowered swing rate on pitches outside of the strike zone from that date onward. Still, one would expect the differences between knowing what pitch was coming and not knowing to be profound.
That one was
Didn't work, mate.
Shouldn't knowing what's coming lead to a big...
That's insane how that can...
Maybe not. Many Hall of Famers like Joe DiMaggio,
That can even
Hank
do that.
Aaron, and
He
Tony
absolutely
Gwynn
whacked
have
that.
insisted that they never wanted
A home
anyone
run,
to
man.
tell them to sign. Granted, these were great hitters no matter what, but it speaks to the nature of being a hitter in Major League Baseball. If you play at that level today, you can already catch up to 100-mile-per-hour fastballs and fight off 80-mile-per-hour curveballs. You've played this game without knowing what's coming for your entire life, and now you have to concentrate on trash can banging when you're just trying to do your job? Then, another advantage of the sign-stealing system popped into my head. Stealing bases.
What?
There goes Altuve. Pitches low. The throw is not in time. Stolen base.
If you know a slower breaking pitch is coming, that can be a big help when base stealing.
Yeah,
The
to be
Astros'
fair,
base stealing
because he
record at home
probably
was
assumed that he was
clearly
going to get it
better than
right.
it was on the road, and that's definitely worth mentioning. So, we think this sign stealing system helped. Obviously the Astros did, otherwise they wouldn't have done it. But the regular season results aren't as tremendous as one would think. Some have also pointed to much more exaggerated splits between home and road games in the playoffs that year. Then you get into the dangers of small sample size. Inconclusive. One reason for this may be that trash can banging appears to have been deployed in moderation. Throughout the broadcasts, one can hear it at a higher frequency later in games, against relief pitchers, and in higher leverage situations. But even then, the 2017 Astros weren't out of the ordinary in high leverage to begin with. So, with all this in mind, what does a punishment for the Astros look like? It
I'm intrigued.
depends
This
on
is
a
cool.
few factors. We've been interviewing for a couple minutes now. In this short time frame, do you think you've received an angry comment or message from an Astros fan?
Probably somewhere. I have maybe all of them muted at this point, I hope.
He's such a troll.
After this scandal broke, Major League Baseball immediately launched an investigation into the Astros' sign-stealing activity. The impending punishment could depend on whether the Astros were exceptional in their sign-stealing. If electronic sign-stealing has permeated the league as a whole, it becomes much more difficult to make
They could
an
strip them,
example of the
right?
Astros.
Of
Major
the-
League Baseball can also choose to punish from an individual as well as an organizational standpoint. Individual punishments could be suspensions or bans for perpetrators, ranging from the uniformed Astros who devised the scheme itself to players who knowingly participated. But that requires knowing exactly who was involved. And can you really suspend an entire baseball team if everyone was in on it? Before you go, I wanted to ask you about Carlos Beltran and Alex Cora. I think you and I maybe both suspect that the struggling hitter mentioned in the Athletic article could have been Beltran. So do you think either of them could be in the crosshairs for the impending Astros punishment?
I think that's where it gets really tricky. Because if Beltran was doing it as a player, then they would have to punish every player. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if Beltran gets punished, then I
Punish
also
everyone
think
else.
that means Altuve and Bregman and Springer also received the same punishment because they all did it as players, and I don't think that's going to happen.
Organizationally, this could mean forfeiting the 2017 World Series itself.
Wow.
But that would, of course, require proving shenanigans in the postseason as well. It also doesn't really fix the problem. You can remove the banner, but the memories remain. Plus, vacating the title from the Astros won't make the Dodgers feel any better. One of the most likely facets of the punishment is loss of draft picks and/or international free agent bonus pool money. The intention would be to handicap the Astros' potential to acquire young, minor league talent. It's not a bad idea, but my main criticism would be that it doesn't immediately threaten the Astros at the major league level, which is where all the cheating took place to begin with. I, personally, think we could see some big Astros coaches and executives taking the fall for this one.
What
Wow.
do you think? Do you think
the managers and
punishment's
the-
gonna be harsh?
The coach taking the hit.
Yeah, I think that's sort of the big question is how exceptional was this cheating? You know, if it is proven that the Astros, you know, were unique in this, I honestly think like someone like AJ Hinch could face like a permanent lifetime ban.
Wow. So the coaches are going to get these like hefty bans, and the players, from what I assume what he's taken, aren't going to get as big. Like, I guess from the MLB standpoint, the players are like more like they're assets to the league, so they're probably going to try and be a bit lenient on them, or a lot more lenient compared to the coaches. But that's crazy. But and who's fault? I mean, I guess the coach and like everyone involved, like in the backroom side of the side of the team, are more to blame because they're probably the ones who told the players to do them sort of things. But still,
Which sounds
that's
crazy,
interesting.
but
Really,
that's
really
a
interesting.
punishment that they've done before. You know, it's not like wouldn't be like the first time this has happened. John Coppolello, the Braves GM, got banned from baseball 2 years ago. You know.
I agree. I don't think it's as crazy as it sounds off the cuff.
This MLB investigation will likely go deep into winter and possibly beyond that. So that's all we can say about the Astros cheating scandal for now. This crazy offseason story started as a bombshell article, then was passed on to the public, and now
The internet, man, they win again.
All we can do is hope that they make a fair and informed decision. But I also want to know, what do you all think would be an appropriate punishment for the Astros?
I assume that would be in the comments.
And thank you for watching.
Let's see the comments now. This is another really good video from this guy. I like his channel a lot. Do you think MLB should? That'd be sick though. Them sort of things would be so cool, man. But obviously that won't be that case. But if that ever happened in a game, that'd be insane. Can you really suspend an entire baseball team? Yes, you can. If that happened, that would be insane. But I just think again, like the MLB will see their players as assets, and like, although they cheated, they'll probably see them more like, if we're getting rid of these players, or we're suspending these players, we're banning these players, what happens next? Or if they ban the team, like, what would happen next? Like, it's interesting to see how they'll take action on this. And I assume action may have been taken. Wait, I'm not sure what would have. Comment in the comments if you got to this point. Tell me like if because I was looking at before the video and I've seen like it's pretty much now certain that they were seen for cheating, and the scandal is true. But what's like it has there been any sort of has there been any suspensions, any sort of things have been done to the team? Like if there has been, tell me in the comments. Like maybe it's just some fines. Like I'm interested to see what that would be. But man, this video just shows the power of the internet. Knock knock, who's there? For God's sake, I love comments, man. I love comments so much. They'll forever be known as Houston Astros. For God's sake. Man, maybe I should do some more scandal videos. And again, if you're an Astros fan, this is not me going against you, because again, this is like a thing that happened. But I'm not here to like take sides or anything, but this is just a very intriguing thing to show again the power of the internet. But yo, if there's any more scandal videos that maybe this guy's done or any other ones on YouTube, I know there's the New England one. Was it to do with like, was it to do with like having flat or not flat, but not having the American footballs pumped up properly, like they're a bit flatter. Is that just me chatting out my arse? I think that was the case, but I know there's a New England scandal. If you're interested in just seeing that or just any other ones, just link them, man. I'm really interested in seeing them sort of things. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. Till next time, like, subscribe, peace.